Thinking about investing in real estate in Sherman, Texas, but not sure if 2026 is actually a smart time to do it? In this video, I'm going to break down what's really happening in the Sherman market right now and whether it makes sense to invest here this year. By the end of this video, you'll know what prices are doing, what demand looks like, how all the big job growth plays into this, and the main pros and cons of investing in Sherman, Texas in 2026. Hey, I'm local realtor Amanda Phillips, your real estate connection here in Sherman, Texas. I help people buy, sell, and invest in Sherman and the Texoma area. And on this channel, I share what it's really like to live and invest here so you can make smart decisions with your money. If you're thinking about buying a rental, a second home, or just getting in now before growth hits, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss my other videos about Sherman Market, neighborhoods, and what's coming next. All right, let's talk about whether Sherman is actually a good place to invest in real estate in 2026. First, what is the Sherman housing market doing right now? Compared to the peak frenzy of the last few years, prices have cooled off. Average and median sales prices have come down from their highs, and homes are taking longer to sell. Instead of flying off the market in a weekend, many properties are sitting on the market for several weeks, even a couple of months in some cases. In plain English, that means the market is more balanced. Buyers and investors have a little more leverage. You're not fighting the same level of bidding wars, and you often have more options to choose from. For investors, that can mean better entry prices, better terms, and the ability to be a bit more selective. Second, what's driving demand in Sherman long-term? Even with this cooling, Sherman's long-term story hasn't gone away. The city is tied to major job growth and huge investment in advanced manufacturing and semiconductors. Large projects like the expansion of Texas Instruments and other related developments are bringing in thousands of jobs and billions of dollars over the next several years. On top of all that, local studies and plans point to steady population and household growth as more people move here for jobs, affordability, and location. There's a big pipeline of new housing being built to try to keep up, but demand is also growing. Over the long run, that combination of jobs and people tends to support housing values and rental demand. So on one side, you've got short-term price softening and more inventory. On the other side, you have a strong long-term growth story. That mix is exactly why a lot of investors are paying attention to Sherman in 2026. Third, what are the advantages of investing in Sherman in 2026? One big advantage is timing. You're not buying at the peak of the market. You're buying during a period where prices have come down from their highs and sellers are often more negotiable. If you believe in the long-term growth of the area, getting in at a lower price point can set you up well for the next several years. Another advantage is affordability relative to bigger Texas metros. Sherman and the surrounding area are still generally more affordable than many suburbs closer to Dallas and Fort Worth, which means your dollar can stretch further. That can make it easier to hit your cash flow or buy and hold goals, especially if you focus on the right neighborhoods and property types. There's also the diversification angle. Some investors like adding Sherman to their portfolio because it gives them exposure to a growth corridor without paying big city prices. With major employers expanding and new mixed-use projects coming, there's a reasonable case for a long-term demand for both owner-occupied homes and rentals. Fourth, what are the risks or downsides you need to be aware of? The first risk is having unrealistic expectations about how fast values will climb. With so much new housing in the pipeline, it's unlikely that prices will skyrocket overnight. In the near term, that new supply can keep appreciation modest and create more competition among sellers and landlords in certain pockets. That means if you're hoping to flip quickly or see huge appreciation in a year or two, this may not be the right play. Sherman is more likely to reward patient, buy and hold investors who are comfortable riding out normal ups and downs while the larger growth story plays out. Another risk is that not all parts of Sherman will perform the same. Some neighborhoods and property types will stay in high demand, while others may feel more impact from new construction or softening rental demand. You need to be very local and specific. Which side of town, which school zones, what price range, what kind of tenant or buyer are you targeting? There's also the financial side: property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. Texas is known for higher property taxes, and insurance costs have been rising in many areas. If you don't build those into your numbers from the beginning, a deal that looked great on paper can feel tight once those bills. So, is Sherman a good place to invest in real estate in 2026? Sherman can be a good place to invest if you want to buy during a cooler, more balanced phase of the market instead of an absolute peak, believe in this long-term story of job and population growth, and are willing to hold your property for several years, are realistic about appreciation, focusing on steady long-term gains instead of a quick flip. Run your numbers carefully and choose solid neighborhoods with realistic rent projections. Sherman might not be the right place or right time if you need very fast appreciation or big cash flow from day one, aren't comfortable with some short-term price and inventory volatility as new construction gets absorbed, don't want to deal with the homework of understanding local taxes, insurance, and rental demand. If you're listening to this and thinking, I like the idea of buying while things are calmer, but I want to be smart about where and what I buy, you're exactly who this video is for. If this helped you understand the investment side of Sherman a little better, here are 2 simple next steps. First, hit subscribe so you don't miss my other videos where I break down Sherman neighborhoods, show you what different price points actually buy you, and walk you through what investors should be watching in 2026. Second, if you're seriously considering investing in Sherman this year and you want some honest, local guidance, click the link at the top of the description. That will take you to my website where you can tell me what kind of investment you're thinking about: single-family rental, house hack, or something else, and I can help you figure out whether Sherman makes sense for your plan and which areas you should focus on. Drop a comment below telling me what kind of investing you're considering in Sherman: long-term rental, flip, or maybe your first home that doubles as an investment. I might use your question in a future video. Thanks for watching, and if you want to know more about Sherman, here's a few videos I recommend.